Stay tuned for the Joan Quinn Profiles. As an editor for Andy Warhol's Interview, the Los Angeles Herald-Examiner, LA Style, and Detour magazines, Joan covered the social set, the Hollywood hotshots, the international art scene, the mysteries of food, the excitement of travel, and the fabulous world of fashion. Joan continues to find creative people on the cutting edge who make things happen. Here's Joan Agajanian Quinn.
Hi, I'm Joan Quinn, and welcome to the Joan Quinn Profiles. Waiting to be profiled is singer-actress Sandra Reaves and psychic face reader Jean Hemp. Sandra Reaves, a great singer of jazz and blues, a Broadway star, and a fine actress who shows her talent in the one-woman play The Late Great Ladies of Blues and Jazz, was born in South Carolina. She worked in the fields and sang in her church, and while she was laboring, it didn't last there very long, did it?
Too long.
She went on to New York City, where she spent long hours performing in nightclubs. What else did you do? You were making records there?
I made records. I had a son and a daughter. I've done a little bit of everything.
Oh, you did? You were you were in a Tony Award-winning play?
Raisin, that's where I got my Broadway debut under my producer, who's producing the show, Virginia Capers.
Did you take her place in the play?
She introduced me as the next mama. Yes.
So there you were. So you've been in Europe?
Been throughout Europe, North Africa. We're going back to Europe again,
Just
to Lyon.
Singing on your own?
Doing the Great Ladies and alternating with another show, Bold and Brassy Blues.
Oh, doing the Great Ladies. So people all over the world have seen that.
Yes, we've been touring this show off and on for about 14 years.
So we're going to let you tell us all about what you've done. There's so much to tell about you. When I started going through your bio, I thought we could never do this. Sandra has to tell us part of it anyway.
Well, I started out when I went to New York as a young teenager singing in nightclubs, and everybody thought I was about 21 years old, yet I wasn't. I was 16 when I started in the doo-wop era, and from the nightclub I got my first recording at about age 17. Thought I was going to be a big star, made a lot of mistakes, didn't look at papers, got gypped. But the most interesting part of my career is when I got out of the business, I got very fed up with it, and then I emerged back in acting school. And believe it or not, my acting teacher is now here in LA, the Alphan Theatrical Ensemble. I studied there a couple of years, and then I went for an off-Broadway audition for a show called Little Bit, which required an alcoholic blues singer. And that's how I got my first role. And from there, I got Miss Moffat with the wonderful Betty Davis, a pre-Broadway show.
Were you singing or just
singing
acting?
in the ensemble and understudying Nell Carter at that time.
Oh, you were?
Yes, I was. And then from there, I got invited to audition for Virginia's show, The Raisin. Got that role, went on tour. And it just started little by little like that. But 14 years ago, my fans started asking me for music of these women: Bessie Smith, Ma Rainey, Billie Holiday, Dinah Washington, Mahalia Jackson. And I really didn't know very much about them. The most I knew was about Mahalia because in South Carolina we grew up on gospel music.
Gospel, right.
But I started doing research back in 1980. And May of 81, I did 2 nights. It was going to only be that. And this show grew on me so much, I couldn't put it down.
You mean it's that old?
Yeah,
it started in
it goes away and it comes back. It won't go away.
When you went to Paris to sing, you sang in a cabaret?
I sang at the Meridian Hotel, and then I went throughout southern France to some of the festivals.
You sang at a blues club that my friend Rochelle Robertson
Was
had.
it Le Hot Jazz Club?
No, it was American.
Meridian.
Is that what it was?
Meridian, yes. We had a wonderful time there, and I've been in Germany.
The French were embracing jazz.
They know all these songs. They know all these singers. They know the absolute history of more of the American music than we do. And I was very ashamed when I was there and these people were talking about Bessie Smith, the Empress of the Blues. I could not conversate with them intelligently because all I knew was rock and roll, rhythm and blues, and the doo-wop era. That's it.
That's what you were raised on.
That's what I was raised on, and Elvis Presley.
So you had to go back and really start researching.
Yes, I did, and I'm still doing it, believe it or not. It never freezes because the history is not all documented very well, but my love has grown so tremendous for this theater piece. Some people think it's a cabaret piece, but it is really musical theater because what we do is I go in and out of characters. I do vignettes, I do poetry.
We have some pictures here.
Oh my goodness, and that's Ethel Waters, Billie Holiday, Bessie Smith, and Mahalia Jackson there.
So
but
that's
we do
you.
6 women,
but
and
look
they're
at
all
you.
me. Yeah.
Look at you.
Yeah.
I mean, you change by a headdress.
Hairdo, costume, the stance, the tone in the voice. For instance, when I do Billie Holiday, people are amazed because they hear this big, heavy, robust voice, and all of a sudden it's the transition where everybody gasps, and I go, I've been told that nobody sing the word hunger like I do or the word love in my solitude. And people go, because it's so unexpected what you get. And thank God the actor in me comes out at this point.
But then Mahalia.
Oh,
I mean, you
Lord.
came out, I thought it was Mahalia standing
when
there.
she comes, it's
because
like,
I remember her.
it's that I'm being lifted out of my body and the spirit of these women come through.
Yeah.
And it's not that I say, okay, I'm going to be exactly like this, because sometimes the words that come out of her mouth are not programmed. It's that spontaneity of the group and the crowd and the audience that makes all of this testimony come out.
But you do a lot of this, like Mahalia. Everything you do is a gesture of what
Would
she
you
did.
believe?
And the way she walked, those big flowing gowns.
But do you know, I've never seen person to person, any of these ladies. What I've had to rely on was little snips and snatches of Black History Month or something like that, reading about how they were, and then taking and blowing it up another few degrees for stage or theater. And some people who have actually seen these women come to me and say, do you know you are doing some of the same exact things that Ma did or Bessie.
Right.
And it's incredible. I said, well, it's the spirit through me.
That's what I saw. I saw so much of that. And as you say, when you change from one person to the other, you can see the change. And one thing I wanted to ask you is because I'm like, applauding and going crazy in the audience, and I'm wondering, do you think they're applauding for Sandra or are they applauding for Bessie or Ethel?
I hope it's a little bit of both, because what happens is, I want no one to make a mistake that I'm trying to imitate these women.
Right.
What I'm doing is the essence of each of them as a character of them. So I don't want anyone to say, oh my God, she's not singing the song. It's that I really am paying my utmost tribute and thank you to these ladies.
That's a point that you made. It was like a tribute to them.
That's
and when you're digging their past and you're making a biography of them through the music, which one do you think was the most likable?
Most likable, I think Mahalia, because people need that spiritual uplift at the end of the show. But then again, when you go into the Billie Holiday, people go, my God, and I heard one guy say, yeah, for about 5 minutes the other night, and I just had to stand there until he finished doing his elating and emoting from that moment.
What about the most human being of the group?
The most human, I would think, would be Mahalia.
So
I still lean on her. The most earthly is Ma. The most prideful and honest, I would think, in a way, is Bessie Smith, because she didn't make any qualms about who she was or where she was from. The most underlying traumatized and strength was Billie, because though she was overtaken by the drugs and the habits, she really was a fighter. She wanted to come out of that. And that's what I'm hoping the audience will see, that she was just not relying and laying there in the gutter and drug. She really made an attempt for the years to come out of that.
It sounded like that when you said that. Does your performance really rely on what happens with the audience?
No, you try to be honest.
It sounds like the audience is egging you on.
Well, they do. When you get into Dinah, now that's when you can go for it, because the audience is ready for her feistiness and the flamboyance and the interplay and the searching for this one and that one. That's when you can really get carried away, I think, as an actor with the audience.
I want to see a clip that you brought.
Oh, we got a smidgen of Ethel getting ready to do a shake of that thinga.
Ethel
Waters, yes.
Okay. You started.
5, 6, 7, 8.
With a little more air, a shake up that thing. Shake up that thing. Shake up that thing. It's kind of white one over here. 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, King Cole, the general king, he got a bump in his back. I'm shaking that thing, you really shook that thing. Shake that thing. I shake out that thing on.
But
Yes.
do you ever feel like you're that person?
Yes.
Yeah.
I let go. When you let go, you do become a part of that person. Yes, you do.
You have to be. But
And
how do you change your voice from person to person?
You listen to you keep listening to the records. And then you try to magnify it several times. Whereas Mom was very earthy and laid back, Bessie was very much into the throat. Ethel was very refined and very cutesy, and Billie Holiday was this throaty person, and Dinah was very resonant, and
can hear it.
Mahalia is just honest to goodness gutsy.
We can hear it all.
Yeah.
You just change it as you talk. Who is Sandra?
Sandra's all of those ladies. They've all somehow influenced me.
Is that
and
when
believe
you
it or
get
not,
up to sing? Sandra Reaves sings. How do you sound?
Sandra Reaves says, well, come on everybody, it's party time. Let yourself be free and there ain't no crime. That's Sandra.
That is your
I wrote
voice.
those opening songs.
That's
for the
your
show.
voice. Oh, that's right.
Yes.
So that is your voice.
That's
you
my-
show the audience your real voice.
Yes.
Then you go on.
Then you go back.
Boy, you did it. You are one of the late, not the late,
Well,
the
thank you.
early ladies.
Thank you. But believe it or not, these women, whether I knew it or not, have played such a role in influencing my tones, the way I deliver. And this is what the young people also need to know. Music didn't start today. It started way back.
That's a great thing. Do you teach at all?
I do work with young children in New York quite a bit, and most of my touring is with the colleges. So I've got children all across the United States that are now collectors of jazz and blues, and they come to me with their collection and show me what they have.
You know, the theater ensemble that Virginia Capers has works a lot with children. They do a lot
Oh
of
yes,
outreach.
Lafayette Players West. She's doing a great job with young people here
And I
in the
think
West Coast.
people have to come in, young people have to come into the theater and see someone like you who performs. Now, I don't want to forget about your group that plays with
gosh,
you.
the All-Star Band.
the
Well, we've got
best.
Lanny Hartley on piano conducting, Leroy Ball on bass, Kenny Surratt on drums, and a wonderful saxophonist, Garner Thomas. These gentlemen blow you away. The other night, they stopped the show. I mean, literally.
Did you
They
pick
had
them
to take
out?
Yes.
You picked them
I
out?
had help from a very good friend of mine, Larry Ball, who's done some of the arrangements for the show.
When this show travels, though, they don't get to go with you, do
Well,
they?
I'm going to snatch them for Hawaii if they can come, but I do have an East Coast band also.
You do. Well,
Yes.
they were wonderful. The whole group of you together.
Aren't the
was
costumes beautiful?
fabulous.
That's Michael Hanna, and Trashy Lingerie did my second act, Billie Holiday.
Well, you look
gown.
pretty trashy, and we want to thank you for being with
You're
us.
welcome.
Thank
Thank you.
I've been looking forward to it, and we really loved
And don't
having
forget to keep shaking your thinga.
We'll be back right after the break with face reader psychic Jean Hemp. Hi, I'm Joan Quinn, and welcome back. We're here with psychic, palm reader, and face reader Jean Hemp. Jean was raised and schooled in Michigan, but moved to Arizona in the 1970s for her husband's health reasons, just like so many other people did at that time. Was it helpful, Jean?
Yes, in fact, he had use of muscles that he never was able to use in Michigan. So, you know, it was amazing, the change.
Just from the climate, do you think, or from the soil, or from what do you think?
Low humidity, lower humidity, because we came from Michigan, which is very humid, down to Arizona, and it was very, very beneficial for him.
When you moved to Arizona, did you have these psychic powers, or did they start developing there?
Actually, I've had them most of my life. I have a running joke that my father used to take me to the horse track because I could pick out the horses.
Was it true?
Most of the time. And then as soon as I saw the horse, I'd say, well, that one would win.
Well, when you read palms, what do you look for in palms?
I like the personality traits behind the palms because that does correlate with the face. But also it helps a person understand the mystery behind the lines on the hand. So it's a little educational too. As I read a palm, I'll point out like a lifeline or the heart line on their hand so that they know, they're a little bit more educated about what the hand is all about.
You mentioned hand and face. I mean, when I met you, I'd never heard of a face reader before. So I thought we'd start with something that was simple like the palm and then move, but it seems you use them both together.
Most of the time, yes. I do, because there's a lot of personality in the face. Well, we're going to talk a little bit more deeper on that. But there is personality in your hand, too. The hand reflects what you have been through in your life and what is coming up and how you are, even if you're a romantic person or if you are one that needs to take it a step at a time, how many relationships there are. Notice I said relationships, not necessarily marriages. This is the 90s. And I try to update everything into the 90s social behavior.
Okay, so now we know you look for these lines in the palms. What do you look for in the face? What are the basic things that if you're reading someone's face you would be looking at?
Well, basically, when I look at a person's face, there are things that do jump out. The forehead, the eyebrows, the eyes, the nose, the lips, the general shape of the face themselves. If I see the ears, that even adds to it. But there's a lot here that you can just analyze just in seconds.
Just what we see, just the way we see a person.
That's
we
right.
see all of those things.
That's right. And so subconsciously, you pick up how you feel about an individual when you meet them. And what I do is I teach this on a more conscious level so that you understand why you feel this way when you encounter a person.
You judge people. I mean, there's like this judging kind of thing. If you look at somebody, oh, do I like her? Do I like the hair? Do I like the way she looks?
I think it's more of an understanding. I hate that word judgment.
I know, but I think that's what we all do. I mean, we look at somebody and we go, oh, I'm not going to like her. But it's because of maybe some of the way these characteristics are put together.
When I deal with couples, I more or less bring out the areas that they are very compatible in, and I bring out the areas that they may have conflicts in. And when they have an understanding of the conflicts and why this person is that way and why that person is this way, they have a deep understanding and they can go, I give them solutions to these situations so that they can compromise and have a better harmonious relationship.
Once they're together, once the relationship is there, if they come to you with problems, can you start reading those things and why they're having the problems?
Yes, there are times when a person may bring trauma from their childhood into their life, or they're doing something in their present day life that is totally contradictory to their personality.
I see.
And that is one of the reasons why we have stress in different jobs. The same thing goes for, say picking the right person for the right job, personnel-wise. You put a service-oriented person into a management position with all of the responsibility, that may cause too much stress in that person's life.
But how can you tell? Can you look at a person's face and know if they're business-oriented or managerial-oriented? Yes?
Mostly, yes. Yes, just like that. And then the same thing goes with casting for a movie or Broadway play. Makeup does wonders, but sometimes behind that makeup you still have that personality. And if that person cannot come forward and portray that character because it's totally contradictory to their own personality, then they're not right for that part.
I met you at a seminar at Dr. Jim Rhoda's, James Rhoda in Westwood. And he's a dentist.
Yes.
And I couldn't imagine what you were doing there or why you were giving seminars.
There's a twofold reason. One, he requested that I teach his staff the basics on face reading so that they can assist the clients even better. with their service, or it is a service-oriented field. 2, because we're doing research on the teeth and the trauma that one goes through, because he can actually read the pattern of a person's life through the teeth.
Wow.
And we're correlating that with the effect of how that has on the face, maybe the hands, maybe with the rest of the body. So that's our research project that we're doing.
Another thing is, if you gave lectures to sales staff, say, can you tell if a person is a good salesman or if they should move out of this field?
Yeah, there are certain characteristics for a really good salesperson. First of all, a salesperson has to make decisions. They have to be talkative. They have to be people-oriented and business conscious.
And how can you see it in the face? Am I that?
Well, to a point, yes, because you are very talkative, you are business conscious, you can make decisions very quickly. So yes.
Where do you see it?
There's a lot of different things. You have the forehead, the nose, the cheek, the mouth.
You said there were 67 different traits.
Single traits.
Single traits, and 200 combinations.
That's right.
Now, how do you, give me one, wait, I have somebody here that we know.
We have Michael Keaton. Okay, Michael Keaton has a very dramatic flair about him. He likes to be in the limelight. He likes to be in control. He likes to have people around him, but he likes to be in control of what's going on around. And, once he has his ideas, he likes to see them enforced, and he has that tenaciousness to enforce them.
And you can see that in his face.
Yes.
This is a shot that from Universal Pictures, the paper. Now I have another one here.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay.
Let me tell you what this is. Dana Carvey from Clean Slate, MGM.
Right.
And I'll take this down.
And I think he's also on one of the sitcoms on the weekends, too. He's very, very analytical. He's always analyzing everything. He can see the different flaws and what needs to be done to correct them, sometimes maybe even a little overcritical. He does have a great sense of humor here, and this is good with the way that he comes across. So he has like an animated face here that can change. So he can take on many different characters.
I think this really is in keeping with what you were saying. Even if they have makeup on and they're in a role, you can still see things, because these are publicity shots that the studios send out. Here's Alec Baldwin in Universal's The Shadow.
Oh yes, he gives off that air of mystery, and basically it's the way he handles himself. He's very, very balanced here. He is
it
a
mystery
doer.
just because he's in the shadow?
No, he has that look about him that it's kind of like a. Now I've seen him in different roles here, and a lot of these are very, very good.
Does it have to do with his eyes?
There's a lot with the eyes, the eyebrows, the mouth, even the everything around the mouth, the nose, the ears. Just his whole the jawline, everything, because he comes across. For a man, he comes across people-oriented, but he does come across like take charge, and yet he can have that intimidating look too.
Here's a good one. Serial mom, Kathleen Turner, and this is Savoy movie, and it was John Waters, who's a great friend of ours.
Yes, Kathleen is, she is, she likes to be in authority, which is part of her character anyways. Very creative here. She has this dramatic flair, her too, and you'll see this a lot in actors and actresses. She's very selective of who comes into her space, and she is very, if you walk right up to her before she even knows you, you're out of it.
Where do you see that? Because you told me that too.
That's right. You have that same characteristic.
Where do you see it?
That's basically the distance between the eyebrows and the eye. It's almost like what they refer to as a highbrow, like Joan Crawford. Now she's an extreme, okay, and with her, you already know subconsciously, that you're not, you don't want to get too close to her, but you give her the distance, and then when she flashes a smile or whatever, that's like saying, it's okay, you can approach me.
Is this just balderdash, or how far back does this all date?
Okay, a little history behind this. This goes back, Chinese philosophy goes back, 2000 BC. So it's nothing overnight. The Greek philosopher Galen, Socrates, okay, they've all done studies on the face, and they try to pick out the criminal, aspects of a person's personality, and they studied a lot with the criminal nature. More updated, upbeat would be Catherine M.L. Blackford, 1918, out of England.
Oh, so it does really.
Yep. Robert Whiteside had an institute here in California and then moved it to Hawaii. That was from the late 50s through the, I think, 70s.
Really? All from face reading?
Yes. So there's a lot of science behind this. Now, what I have done is I have taken all of this information plus others, because there are other artists there, and I have updated it to the 90s social behavior and made it more of a positive, you have choices here in your life. There's no negatives about a face. I refer to them as challenges.
Oh, great.
And
so are you going to write a book?
I'm in the process of writing a book.
Will all this go into the book?
All of this will go into the book, and eventually we'll have more maybe a video or whatever to tie in with the book. But that's the goals for the future. Now, the way I like to say this is, God put us on this earth to learn how to act, interact, and react with others. And what better way than to learn how to read faces?
Okay, what's the first thing I should do when I look at somebody? What should I look for to know if he's a compatible person?
For you, I would have to say he needs to have full lips, because you have full lips, you're a talker. Okay, so you definitely want to have someone that is a talker too. Okay, you need to have someone that has almost big eyes with hardly any white showing when they talk, because of the simple fact you have a big heart, and you want someone that is very big-hearted too. So it's like very similar features that you have.
You tend to go toward your own kind of features. Our time is up. Our time is up. We didn't get to finish talking about everything we wanted to talk about. But I am a big talker. You're a big talker too. And we all want to thank you for watching us today. And keep writing to us. If you need to know anything, write to us at 520 South Grand, 8th floor, and we'll answer your letters. Goodbye, and thanks for watching the Joan Quinn Profiles.